What's up, everybody? Welcome to Casual Shenanigans Tech, a podcast where Dave and myself, hey Dave,
hey,
from the Casual Shenanigans Gaming podcast, answer your computer tech build, parts list, stuff is broken, whatever questions. We do this about once a month. We haven't had any questions come in the last week or last month, so we didn't do one for longer than we normally do. Then a bunch of questions came in all at once, so now we're doing one now. So to be a part of the show, you just write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com. Send us in your question, your parts list, your whatever. The more detail, the better, but don't be overly verbose. Like, give us all the detail we need to answer. Don't give us your life story, because I will read the whole thing. I'm really bad about skimming, and we will try to answer it, and we'll help you. But before we do that, Dave, you know what time it is?
What time is it, Jeremiah?
It's time for the Rig Report.
Rig Report. Dun 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 dun. It gets more like regal and less like news story every time. It's gone from like CNN news break to like announcing His Highness. Which I guess is kind of appropriate for a lot of PC gamers.
Yeah, that's kind of what they'd want.
My liege, my computer.
So changes to rigs recently. I think the only thing for me is I bought a Vive, which has been sitting under hoodies on my chair for 2 weeks. I'm so sad. It came with a free RX 480. That's why I did it. I hopped on the Newegg deal. Let me see how much the 480 is going for. It has a day or two left on eBay. But those are still selling for like 160, 170 on eBay. So I'm pretty much getting a Vive for 630-ish. And my plan is to just use it for a couple months and probably sell it. The couple months begins when I actually start using it, not.
So right after you quit your job, that's when the timer starts.
Oh, apparently, apparently the bidding, it already ended. Someone paid $163 for it.
You know, so. I'm realizing now, you asked jokingly if I wanted it, and I laughed and said absolutely not. And now I think about it, I should have seen if Matthew wanted it.
Nah. What is he using now, a 660?
Yes.
Well, too late.
Yep, there it is. The end.
Yeah, so I got a Vive. I'm gonna get a 1080 Ti once all the extra aftermarket cooler ones are hitting for decent prices, and I see what's good. It's probably gonna be a Gigabyte or a Zotac. Honestly, right now, there's no point to me getting one because I have no time to play anything except for Arma.
Because Arma's scheduled and you're an admin. Obligated. I don't know
if you've seen reviews of the MSI aftermarket 1080 Ti, but overclocked, it's pretty much double a 980 Ti in most games. Like, almost exactly.
Nice.
So, I'm pretty excited about it. At 4K, not at 1080p or 1440p, but at 4K, It's almost double. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited, but that's all I've done. How about you?
I'm in a weird position actually with hardware upgrades because I went, all out in like November and December getting my office set up for this year, and I'm really content right now. Like it's kind of awesome. I was actually, it's one of those things where like you're spending money on stuff. Like I know I did my research. I know this is a good decision, but it just feels like so much money. Well, like it's all working out great. I'm really enjoying the setup. It's nice to not really think about stuff and everything just works. I'm not going to get a 1080 Ti. I'm happy with a 1080. Happy with my screen. You're not going to get one for
now. You're not going to get one for now. I mean,
yeah,
you never know.
It could be like a year from now. There might be some game that comes out like Witcher 4.
A year from now. Okay, yeah. Sure.
In my dreams, hopes and dreams and deepest, darkest fantasies. But yeah, I don't really see any upgrades happening. It's actually gotten to the point where I spent the money in November and December, and I'm happy. But I'm getting to the point now where my main storage hard drive is down to like about 180 gigs free on a good day. And I've had a 3 terabyte hard drive to just pop in as additional storage on my Amazon wish list since like the end of November. And every month I look at it and go like, man, $130 for a hard drive. And then I look at my hard drive that I already have, and I'm like, I'll just delete a few of these and there, and it's up to 200 gigs free again. That'll be fine. And I'm like, you went like absolutely ham in December, and now you're hemming and hawing over a $130 hard drive. But like I said, like everything's working. I'm just kind of coasting along right now. It's good stuff.
Cool. So no other big changes?
No, not at all.
Oh, actually, I don't think I mentioned the MacBook Pro in the last one. I'm using a MacBook Pro at work now. For all the fun I've made fun of, like, for all I make fun of Apple, I've actually discovered that a MacBook Pro is the closest to a multi-monitor workflow for something I have to be able to carry around with me all day long. Mm-hmm. Which I was surprised by, because I was issued a Dell Inspiron something or other. It's got like a quad-core, 8 gigs of RAM, IPS 1080p display, like pretty solid laptop. Not that heavy, honestly. Kind of thick, a little bit of a boat, but for what's probably an $800 or $900 laptop, pretty decent. But then I had the opportunity to jump to a 2012 MacBook Pro, and man, was that thing did not age well. But then I was able to jump to a 2013 MacBook Pro Retina, much better. And yeah, I'm actually surprised. All the gestures within OS X have made it much, much easier to approximate a multi-monitor workflow. I hate the thing on Mac monitors where people have a dozen windows open that are all like 2/3 of the screen. Like, I don't do that. Everything is full screen only, and I have like 8 desktops set up on it, so I just swipe between desktops.
Nice.
But yeah, it actually works really well, and I'm pretty impressed by it. So I was thinking about it. I was like, you know, if since this one isn't technically my work issued one, if that one ever gets taken away, I might sell my ThinkPad and get like a 13-inch. Since now my ThinkPad pretty much just sits in a drawer.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, ready to answer some questions?
Straight from the horse's mouth, Jeremiah loves Apple.
I wouldn't say that. The adapter life.
Oh, I said it.
Loving that adapter life. And also, I can't output, even though the Thunderbolt port's like, it's a mini display connector. It's not an actual mini display port, so I can't output at 4K 60 hertz to my 4K monitor, because you have to get an Apple adapter to do that. But I could output at 30 hertz over an HDMI cable. So when I bring my old 4K monitor into work, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. The lazy part of me is like, just plug in an HDMI cable. 30 hertz doesn't matter on the side monitor. But I'm not sure. All right, so first question is from Alex. Alex says, "Hey guys, I've written in here a few times before, and you've helped me a lot with some builds for my friends, which I'm very grateful for. This time, I need help with a budget PC at around the same price as a Nintendo Switch. It's for a friend who's currently debating to get either a PC or a Switch." Let me just pause there. I'm not trying to make fun of your friend, Alex. Who is comparison shopping a desktop PC and a handheld gaming device as like one or the other?
Yeah,
isn't that decision pretty much like, do you want to play Zelda? Yes. If so, Switch.
Well, I guess it's more like, do you want to play Counter-Strike and PC games with mods, or do you want to play Zelda anywhere?
Yeah, pretty much. Like that's the mix. So he says, "We're currently looking to have a mix of used and new parts, though due to my friend's bad experience with eBay, he looks to only buy used parts from UK Web Buy and Amazon. He'd also like Windows factored into the price, and I was able to find it for £25 on a site called Kingwin. Oh joy." I can confirm this site is reliable and it works. Well, a lot of things might be reliable and they work. I mean,
yeah,
doesn't mean we endorse it necessarily. From Reddit, he got this build suggested. It looks okay, but it requires a motherboard BIOS update, which I'm not at all experienced with and prefer to avoid. A wireless network adapter in Windows, which makes it £340 if I learn to update the BIOS, or I could have a local computer shop do it for £10. I myself haven't been able to string together a good budget build for this, so I've come here. Any help would be much appreciated. So a quick summary: he needs a PC, Windows, wireless network adapter, but doesn't need a keyboard and mouse for £300 max. Please only use the sites provided. So what is this list suggested by Reddit? Pentium G4560, an MSI H110, a Gigabyte RX 460, a Fractal Design 1000, 8 gigs of RAM, EVGA power supply, Seagate Barracuda. A lot of custom pricing in this, and I guess people found stuff used. And okay, so this is weird. Yeah, I don't care about that build. That's not a good build.
Yeah.
This is weird because I honestly don't know. I don't know how you price something out for this, because what does his friend want to do, you know? Like,
well,
honestly, there's so little crossover. Like, the only crossover between a Switch and a PC is Skyrim, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. I just kind of took it at face value. I think if you want to switch, buy a Switch. But at the same time, if he decides to buy a Switch and then later says, "Oh, I want that PC too," he's still gonna want probably like an absolute budget PC, especially if he buys, both. So that's how I took it. Is let's try to do mostly new parts given his previous buying experiences, and see what we can come up with. And so I've got like a rough list going here, with a couple ideas.
All right, what you got?
I've swapped things over to AMD and made a few compromises because I didn't think any of that custom pricing stuff would be possible with new parts. Like you said, that must have been used deals that they were finding. And of course, they could substitute any particular part on my list with a used part, possibly, but I just wanted to give them a baseline new parts list. And it is pushing the budget at £331. That gets you an actual quad-core AMD FX CPU, 6300, a full-sized ATX motherboard, not a micro ATX like Reddit's Intel build. It does only get you 4 gigs of RAM unless you find a better deal on some used stuff, because RAM is a little bit pricey right now for 8 gigs. Storage is also pretty small at only 320 gigs with a Western Digital Caviar Blue. That same RX 460 card for the graphics card. A surprisingly nice looking Bitphoenix Nova ATX mid-tower case for £27, which surprised me. Like, it looks understated and just clean and simple, and that's pretty cheap. Your usual EVGA power supply. And the cheapest, well-reviewed wireless adapter that I could find, basically.
Okay, and what does all that come out to?
$331.
And does that include Windows?
That does not include Windows. What do you say was £10 for Windows? No, £25 for
25
Windows.
pounds, and that's from Kingwin. Feel like we ought to throw in there. Just because it's on Kingwin doesn't mean it's like allowed to be resold. It might be a legal, like, not pirated copy of Windows, but the person who's selling it may not have the authority to actually sell that key, so you should just keep that in mind. I've never heard of Microsoft revoking one of those keys. Honestly, Microsoft, or like revoking an OEM key that you use for something else, Microsoft doesn't really tend to care. But keep it in mind.
Yeah.
So, I'll run through the list real quick.
It's linked there in the email reply. You want me to paste it in the chat so you can see it?
Hold on. Let me open up drafts. Oh, I just saw. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I just saw the drafts folder. Okay, in the 6300, 4 gigs of RAM, Seagate, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I mean, for $331 or 331 pounds, I think that's a very, reasonable build. I'm still confused about what he wants to do with it, though. Like,
For sure,
I think it's a reasonable build. Is it a good build?
Yeah, lots of corners cut for sure. And it could be the wrong corners unless we find out some more information about what exactly he wants to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. I'm gonna go on Amazon.co.uk. Since we don't have that many questions tonight, let's talk this one out a little bit. What could we get a super cheap desktop PC for? Like a pretty garbage desktop PC, and then put a graphics card in it. Is there even one that will work? Because a lot of them, are going to be like slimline.
Yeah,
but it might come with Windows, so it would be like a crappier option.
Does Kingwin offer computers?
It'd be a crappier option for quality, but it might be better for like getting a copy of Windows and his friend not having to do as much work. If they're not confident in their ability to upgrade the BIOS or a few other things, it might not be a terrible idea to see if there's an option you can just purchase. Let's see what's available with 8 gigs of RAM. On Amazon. There are a lot of computers for sale on Amazon.
Oh, wow. Dell Optiplex 990. Quad-core i5. 8 gigs of RAM, Windows 10 Professional, certified refurbished, £278.
Here's one. An HP 6200. It has an i5 2400. That's a quad core. 8 gigs of DDR3, a 1 terabyte hard drive, Windows 7 Pro, and used, it's 195 pounds.
Nice.
Now that's a small form factor, but that means you could put a half height card in it. And I think there's a GTX 1050 that's a half height. Let me check that really quick.
I think you're right.
Low profile, that's what it's called. Okay, that's a 1050 Ti. That's 157 pounds. There's a 750 Ti half height. That's more money than I thought. The low profile 1050 is 132 pounds. Let me look. Are there any other options? What's a 750 Ti going for?
Let's take a look.
100 pounds. Okay, so not worth it. Not worth the difference. Well, I'm still gonna send this as an option. And Alex, like I'll add this, so I'll send over Dave's list and this as an idea. But I would suggest shopping around for something like this, not necessarily the one we're sending. Mm-hmm. But this idea, so you're gonna get more value for your money out of Dave's build, and it'll be a better build, and you can upgrade it easier in the future. So that's all important stuff to keep in mind. But if your friend doesn't really care about all that and wants an easier way out for cheap, this possibly is a better solution. So
yeah.
2 different ways to do it: build or buy. All right, ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
Jackson writes in, "Hey guys, I emailed in about a year ago asking for a build around $4,000. Oh yeah, the bank robber. That's what he calls himself. Remember the guy saying he was going to have like $4,000, but I think he was getting out of jail, if I remember correctly. And we joked that he must have robbed a bank. I said, I just remembered about my email when rethinking that PC build I still haven't done. I took into account that $4,000 might be overkill for a build. Since the 1080 Ti release made 1440p and 4K more viable, I've put together a build to update you guys on the progress and not leave you hanging. The build is on a $3,000 to $3,200 price range, so feel free to recommend any changes. I'm a bit skeptical on the motherboard and monitor, but I can't find anything that's 1440p and a high refresh rate. Thanks." All right, Dave, you want to do the parts list? Do you want me to do it?
He's got a parts list. You mean
like,
like
I know, but I mean, like, yeah, read it out.
I think we can skim over it because it's. I mean, you think about what goes into a $3,000 PC. Let me get the best of everything, fam, and then that's basically it. I think highlights really the CPU is the i7-7700K. I don't recognize that CPU cooler. It's honestly
Cryo Rig. They're kind of new to the game, but people like them.
Okay,
they're solid.
I'm not a big fan of those style coolers myself, but that's cool. That motherboard is surprisingly cheap for something that has LEDs that glow. I feel like that would be like, oh, it's got changeable LEDs.
And for having the name Strix and Gaming. Why are the LEDs on the inside of the case? That's stupid.
It's
like, no, I mean, taste is subjective. Okay, to each their own. I appreciate what they're trying to do for $140, but it looks like a snowboard.
Yeah, the design is interesting, but I would not buy it. I'll give him that. He's got an array of Western Digital black drives, a Samsung solid state, very small SSD, oddly, 250 gig.
Yeah, 250 gig. That's...
For $94, I feel like that's not a good deal at all. Also, 16 gigs of RAM. Why is that $120?
Oh, RAM went back up. Did you not know that? I don't know if there was an accident at another factory or something.
A whole lot.
RAM, yeah, it's been trending up. It's up about 30% right now.
I'm glad I topped off last year and hit 32.
I got a top off of RAM.
Yeah, I had to throw that in there. Quick top off.
All right.
1080 Ti, surprise. Nice white black case. 1,000-watt power supply. Overkill, but I mean, hey, if you want, why not? Windows 10 Home. You might want to get Pro. Think about it. The comment that I had actually was about his monitor, because he said he did not see very many 1440p high frame rate options. He's got... Where'd he go? the ROG Swift, which is almost the one that I bought last year. They're basically all the same panels, but I went with the ViewSonic option. Same thing, basically. IPS, 1440p, 165 hertz, but 144 by default. You have to like find the setting for 165, and I just haven't cared enough to look. I've been very happy with the ViewSonic. It's like $100 cheaper on average. I'd say go for the ViewSonic if you want that one. And if you're wondering, are they any good? Like I said, I love mine. So, but
Cool.
You actually have some input on that too, as far as like G-Sync goes, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think G-Sync's definitely worth it. You know, you and I come down on different things. You'd rather have ultra and 1440p and higher frame rates, and I'm fine with like 30 to 60 at 4K on slightly lower settings. So like we tackle it in different ways, but I think we're both very, very happy with G-Sync and would definitely recommend it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
either way, thumbs up from us on G-Sync and both of those resolutions, basically.
Yep. And I am, however, making some changes to this list. Just because I think there's some weird options on the list. I think we can do better. Essentially, I'll go ahead and leave the motherboard. I mean, well, no, it's stupid. I'm sorry, I just can't. Although I think it's going to be an open window case, so I mean, maybe there's something to making it look decent, but
It might be the effects. Like, they might look cool through the window, depending on how it looks, and not like it's just full of crappy blue LEDs. But you might want to think about getting the Strix graphics card as well, which will also have matching effects. If that's your thing, you know, why not go all out?
well, I mean, I guess.
If that's your thing, why not go all out?
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. Oh, you know what's in that price range? I just saw the name of another one. The MSI Tomahawk. What a stupid name. So anyway, he had like a 1 terabyte and then a 2 terabyte Western Digital Black. I'm throwing in 2 3 terabyte Hitachi Ultra Stars because they're 7,200 RPM, 3.5 inch, 3 terabyte drives for $70 each. So it's just way more storage, and it's realistically it's about as fast.
Yeah, I honestly would say stick with one of the black drives maybe if you want to have one that's just for games that like open world games would be awesome on the black, but you don't need them. Maybe keep one because I love those drives myself.
No, yeah, they're good. I just want to make it clear, like you do not need that much. Like there's
you don't need
really no reason. Yeah, exactly. Other edits, you're going to include your monitor. I'll leave his monitor in the listing, and you've included the list of the second one, or you've included the link to the second one.
Yeah.
I swapped to a different motherboard. Honestly, you can keep your same one. Like it's not a big deal.
It's killing you inside, isn't it?
A little bit. The biggest two things for me was, yeah, like Dave said, if you want to keep one larger black drive, go for it. Otherwise, these 2 3 terabytes gives you the option to do some backups. They're pretty fast, all cool. I knocked it down to an 850 watt EVGA gold certified power supply. That's the same one I have. It's just a lot cheaper than the 1,000 watt. And into this day and age, you will never need an 1,000 watt power supply. Like I think we can confidently say. I don't know. What do you think, Dave? I mean, my entire system right now maybe pulls 400 at full load.
Yeah, you could do SLI off of like an 850 easily.
Yeah, so like there's just modern cards are efficient enough. It's not a concern. So this comes out to, let me see. Yeah, they all have prices. Just over $3,000. Oh, I got to add a motherboard back in. Those will be about a little under $3,200. So not a significant difference, but less, a little more value for your money, personally, I think. Although this motherboard might require a BIOS update, just to keep that in mind, because he's added a KB Lake processor.
Now, isn't it true that in some cases, these newer motherboards, you can't, in a lot of cases, do the BIOS update without having another CPU to put into it to do the update? I've heard a couple of warnings about that recently.
That happens with older ones, too.
Now, a high-end motherboard, you might be able to do a BIOS update without a CPU in the board, but you need to look into it before you buy.
I wonder, how can I filter? How might I be able to? Oh, the Z270 chipsets. That would be it. Those are designed just for KB Lake. I'll just throw one of those in there, so it doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Just for everyone else, I've seen that a few times, like PSAs about, hey, only buy this motherboard if you have a CPU you can borrow from a friend.
That's what I did when I built my wife's computer in college. I had to drive to my house and pull out my 6600 and drop it in because she had a newer, so mine was a 65 nanometer.
Yeah.
And then midway through socket 775, they switched to 45 nanometer. And when they did that,
BIOS updates for everybody.
Exactly, and I already bricked one motherboard doing the BIOS updates on 775. Actually, to mail it back to like the manufacturer, it took 3 months to get a new one. It was a whole big thing. So for hers, I was very nervous to do it, but I had to go pull mine out, put it in there, and then try it. And ugh. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, overall, his list isn't bad. The thing about the monitor. Well, also to throw out for anyone who's considering one of these high-end monitors, you might think like, hey, I'm dropping $700+ on a monitor. Like, obviously it's going to be good. That's not always the case. What you want to keep in mind is that high refresh rate IPS panels are hard to make. So it's not really a quality thing. Like, these can be very high-end, good quality monitor manufacturers. But there's a certain amount of breakage you're always going to get with these monitors, where people run into light bleed issues or dead pixels or whatever else. So buy from a place that has a good return policy, and then don't feel bad if you have issues and you have to mail one or two of them back before you get a keeper. Both Dave and I were fortunate. Ours worked seemingly totally fine. Do you get a flicker every once in a while on your screen, though? Are you still getting that?
No, not at all.
No, I do every once in a while, like a staticky flicker across the screen for like a couple frames, and that's it.
No, I was at like full pucker buying that last December because there's a lot of horror stories out there, and then everyone's like, oh, it's just 1 or 2 dead pixels. I'm so lucky. From what I can tell, I had 0 issues, not a single dead pixel, nothing. So
cool. All right, any other thoughts for Jackson other than glad you've left your ways of crime behind? Welcome back.
Also, kids, crime profits. No, that's it for me.
Okay. All right, Bradley is next. Bradley says, howdy, I've got a 3-year-old gaming rig that I feel is still viable for the most part. We'll be the judge of that.
And boy, will we judge.
I have an FX 8370 with 32 gigs of DDR3 and a couple of SSDs I run games off of. I'm running into issues achieving a stable 60 FPS in games because of my old GTX 680. I'm planning to replace it with either a GTX 1070 or an RX 480, see links below. My question is value. Is there enough performance difference between the two to justify the added price of the 1070 on a 1080p panel at 60 Hz? Skyrim, Fallout 4, and GTA 5 are my current target games, but Mass Effect Andromeda and Ghost Recon Wildlands are on deck. So the cards he sent links to are a Founders Edition GTX 1070 for $400, which is too much money, and a XFX RX 480 for $284, which is also too much money.
Yeah,
but much. Dave, what you got for us?
My only notes here for 1080p, honestly, the 480 is more than enough. That's a fantastic card. You'll be very happy with it. Just think about how you're upgrading now, and will you be getting any kind of 1440p screen while you still have this card? If so, a 1070 wouldn't be a terrible investment if you find one with a good price, which they are dropping right now, so good time to look. But
there's one on Slick Deals today for like $330.
Yeah, so if you see a good deal and you think you might upgrade your screen to a higher resolution in the future, maybe think about future-proofing just a bit.
Yeah, and I think if he is seriously considering Mass Effect Andromeda and Wildlands, those are both not incredibly well optimized games that are demanding enough that, like, if you want to buy a new video card and be running things maxed out for a little while at 1080p, yeah, honestly, I'd probably stretch and get a a 1070 or a 980 Ti on sale or something, because I've seen 1070s for just over $300 a couple times lately. So if he was considering a $280, $285 RX 480, then why not? Note about an RX 480 though, you should be able to get an 8GB one for $220 or less. So I don't think it's a bad idea to get one. I think they're solid cards.
Yeah.
But don't pay that much money for one. You don't need to.
For sure.
So. Yeah. Can't really go wrong either way though. I'm sure you'll enjoy either. If it was me, I'd just buy once, cry once. If he's made it this far on a 680, he doesn't sound like the type who's going to want to upgrade, in a year or two, so might as well keep it.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
He's not like us. Okay. Last question is from Pranay. And he does say, I wouldn't blame you if you butchered my name if and when you answer this question on the pod. Please let us know how to pronounce your name, actually, because I have never seen this name written before, so I honestly don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not good at pronouncing things in general, but I wouldn't mind learning. But he writes in and says, hey, CSG, I've been listening to your podcast for 6 months now. Really enjoy the content. Thanks. He says, so I bought a system with an i5 4440 with 8 gigabytes of RAM on a Gigabyte H81 motherboard from a local seller 2 years ago. When I bought it, I needed it just for browsing the internet and light media consumption. Also, since I wasn't too informed when I bought the system, I didn't notice how limited the motherboard was or the fact that he bundled a cheap OEM power supply with the system. Over time, I grew more interested in computer hardware, and I'd like to think I'm quite well informed now. Anyway, so I added a GTX 970, a Corsair VS 450 power supply, and replaced the original case the system came with and got a Circle CC819 case. Never heard of that brand.
Googling, I gotta see it.
He says, now I know the power supply I got isn't a really good one. However, the pricing of power supplies where I live in India is horribly expensive, so a good 80 plus gold modular 750 watt power supply would cost upwards of $130. That's actually not that different from America. Like a cheap one in America with the same specs might be $100.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
He says the next upgrade I'll make will definitely be the power supply, but what after that? What about after that? I game at 1080p and will continue to do so till I upgrade my GPU, so the GPU and monitor should be good till the next generation of NVIDIA or AMD GPUs come out. I'm really excited about what Ryzen has to offer because I want to start streaming as well, and I thought I should upgrade my CPU next. Just wanted to hear your thoughts on this. After the power supply, what is it that you would suggest I should upgrade next? Look forward to future podcasts. Keep up the good work.
I had to Google that CPU. i5 4440.
Yep.
Nothing amazing, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it's an OEM, or not. It probably came. I guess you can buy them on their own, but commonly you would see this in an OEM computer. Pretty power efficient, quad core, up to 3.3 gigahertz. Blah.
Yeah, not very exciting. Just kind of there.
Not very exciting, but as we've talked about plenty of times, the CPU does not matter that much for most games. Like, it honestly is probably not affecting you in many noticeable ways.
Have you met my friend, Battlefield 1?
Yeah, so logical upgrade path. What do you think?
Oh man, if he's serious about streaming or doing video stuff, I'd say yeah, CPU would make a lot of sense. If he's happy with the 970 performance right now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to assume he doesn't want to, he's not trying to, like, stream just using Shadowplay. He's trying to do a CPU-based encode. You can still do it with that CPU. Like, it's not going to be bad, but if you're, like, trying to stream Battlefield, yeah, it's probably going to get hammered.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really give us a budget. Ryzen is good. Ryzen is really good if you want to do, like, media creation for the money. I would probably wait and see what this next crop of Ryzen CPUs looks like, because they've released their hexa-core, or no, all octa-cores. Yeah, all octa-cores at the moment. Hyper-threaded octa-cores.
Yeah.
But when the hexa-cores and the quad-cores come out, there might be, like, a pretty reasonable hexa-core deal out there in, like, the $200 range. So that would be something to consider for a hyper-threaded hexa-core. Like, Dave, isn't that crazy? Like, it would probably rival your processor for like $200.
That's amazing.
More power efficient. Ryzen CPUs, you've probably been following things, Pranay, but Ryzen CPUs are a little bit worse than comparable year Intel CPUs clock for clock in games. But a little worse does not mean they are bad for games. They are massively better than old AMD CPUs, which honestly got a bad rap. They weren't terrible. But the big thing about Ryzen is for like video rendering, they are awesome because they seem to be beating a lot of Intel CPUs that are literally double the price. Like a $400 Ryzen CPU can run toe and toe with a $900 Intel CPU when it comes to video rendering.
It's glorious.
Yeah, like that's definitely a way you could think about going if you're planning on spending some of that money. His motherboard only has 2 slots. I just checked, so it supports up to 16 gigs of RAM. I would probably just let 8 ride out until you're ready to upgrade your CPU. Yeah, I'm thinking a platform update is what he's going to need next. Because if he keeps this i5 4440 and the Gigabyte H81, like he's fine. He can run that for a few more years. But it looks like it has 4 USB ports, 2 RAM slots, 1 PCI Express, like full-size slot. Like it just doesn't have a lot going on.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think if it was me, I'd want to upgrade to a better motherboard and better CPU, just so it gives you flexibility for the future. But that does mean you're going to need new RAM. You know, you have to buy the whole thing. CPU, RAM, motherboard, all at once. Did you look up that case?
Yeah. It looks like... How do I describe this? Like, I don't want to be mean. It looks like your stereotypical, like...
baby's first gamer.
Yeah, baby's first gamer case. Like, it's just... I feel like I've seen this case for the last 15 years on Newegg. You know, it's like
yeah.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, we're not making fun of you, Pranay. It's just that, like, everybody buys a case like this at some point or another. Like, you got to have one. You got to get it out of your system. It's part of the plan. It's okay. Actually, I will say, I like how the motherboard tray is painted.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm not going to lie. That actually looks pretty cool.
You know what these cases remind me of, Jeremiah?
Alienware?
I was about to say, it's like, hey guys, totally didn't buy an Alienware, but I came pretty close. It's like, I was smarter than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I think I would go.
Yeah.
I'd go for a platform update.
Cool. Makes sense.
You have any other thoughts?
No, that was good. I like it.
Let's just talk about if he doesn't want to do a platform update.
When is the next half of the Ryzen CPUs actually coming out?
A month or 2, I think.
Okay, so it's not too far away. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, there's already details leaking now. So by the time he gets his power supply and he's starts doing research and stuff, they might possibly be out. Of course, I mean, who knows how much you want to spend on it? Hey, maybe you want to spend enough to, maybe you want to get like one of the octo cores. I doubt you need it, but you might enjoy it. Now, if you decide not to do that and you're like, what else could I upgrade? You will notice a difference with a better GPU. I mean, it sounds like you're happy with your current one, but you could definitely keep that processor longer if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's not a bad processor at all. If you play Battlefield 1, you play Arma, you play anything that's really CPU heavy, yeah, you're probably going to benefit from a better CPU, but you could keep it for a while longer. So, something to always keep in mind is you can always wait. New parts will always come out. Things will always be cheaper. He says he's got a 1080... Well, no, it doesn't say he has a 1080p monitor. Oh, yeah, he games at 1080p, so he has a 1080p monitor.
Yeah.
He thinks his GPU and monitor should be good. So if he's happy with that, he's happy with all that. I mean, you could think about maybe a nice mechanical keyboard and mouse. It doesn't always have to be something internal to the computer. You could think about an audio upgrade. I really care about audio. Not everybody wants to spend a bunch of money on audio. So if like a regular set of headphones or cheap speakers work for you, that's fine. I think just my speaker setup costs about half of what my first desktop gaming PC did.
Yep.
Well, I say just my speaker setup. That doesn't include any of my headphones or mic or anything else. Sorry, I meant just the speakers and the little box to control the speakers.
Yeah, let's not get on this route because I'm imagining college Dave just going in and going, why? Those Logitech all-in-one speakers, they were only $70 and they had everything.
Hey Dave, how do you enjoy playing Battlefield in surround sound mode?
I just was before this. It's fantastic.
Isn't it fantastic? I think I'm very proud of your system because like it is a budget system. I mean, okay, compared to your $70 Logitech all-in-one system, it's kind of expensive. But it's budget in the sense of we definitely skimped on a couple of the pieces and looked for deals and whatever else.
We cut the correct corners.
We cut the correct corners. And I've always prided myself when it comes to stuff like that on being able to get a lot of value out of the dollar. But man, when you're playing Battlefield, like it's like guns are being shot in the room next to you. Like it is uncomfortable at times. It's
only Battlefield 1, but Lily, our small dog, whenever
I say burrito with legs, but whatever.
She doesn't mind any game that I play with a surround sound, like Sniper Elite, Fallout. Like, she'll trot through the room, sit in her bed in here, whatever. But I load up Battlefield. I don't know what it is with DICE's sound design. I have found her underneath the bed in the back bedroom just shivering. Like, the surround sound with Battlefield.
She's just remembering past lives, horrible things that happened.
I mean, honestly, though, like the rifle cracks in Battlefield 1 with the surround sound, it's something to behold.
What now? Is there a version of beholding that's specifically for listening? That's not an intelligent question. I'm asking it.
Tinnitus. Yeah, it's good stuff.
So anyway, Pranay, thank you for writing in to be a part of the show. Thank you everybody else for writing in to be a part of the show. As always, you can write at casualshenanigans@gmail.com if you want to be a part of the show. And for everybody who was a part of the show this evening, if you have any questions, concerns, you're like, oh crap, I forgot to tell you about all this extra money I want to spend on this thing, whatever, write back into us. We will turn that answer around to you pretty quickly. Thank you for writing in, being part of the show. We appreciate it. Go check out the regular podcast, Casual Shenanigans Gaming, if you want a fun time listening to us talk about our irreverent love for all things video game related. Dave, you got anything else?
No, that does it.
All right, y'all. Thank you for coming out. We'll see you next month for Casual Shenanigans Tech. We'll see you next week for Casual Shenanigans Gaming. And until next time, stay casual.
Oh, Jeremiah, you're missing our new outro.
What is it?
You don't remember? I mean, it's been a month, I guess.
Okay.
And until next time, spend money irresponsibly.
Oh, right. Okay. Let us help you. Let us empower you to spend all of your money on computer parts.
Thanks for writing in, guys. We'll see you next time.
Later.